time. KJ6TYO 1009. Yeah, good evening, Ron. Big signal. KJ6TYO. TYO, yes. K6MYC. Good to hear you. And you're sounding bright and shiny, over.
Yeah, I got all cleaned up, boy. A shower makes you feel like $1 million. So anyway, yep, got out of the shower and just made it out here. Sounds like, pretty early.
Yeah, good for you. We're just, we had a little family issue. Judy's daughter up in San Andreas fell a couple of days ago and broke both arms. I mean, couldn't be any more awkward. What do you do when you got both hands? She broke her left arm, her left wrist, or something in her left hand. So it's going to be operated on. It's so badly broken. And the right side, may not be. There's a few broken things, but they may not be. That you can't move. If you break tarsals in your hands. Not the little carpal bones; those are the little wrist bones. But if you break tarsals, you can live with those. You put a little stiffener on there with one bone that has to be held in place, and then you can still function. She apparently has use of her fingers because she's able to make phone calls and stuff. But they've got 6 cats and 2 dogs, and that's what's causing most of the problem. Her other sisters are in and around the area. Her daughter and her sisters. Not sister, but daughters, and they could both help her, but they both have their lives filled to the gill. One of them just got out of the hospital yesterday or this morning for something minor, but we don't know what that was. So we were just going through the motions here. What do you do? What do you do? And Judy's been hurt here. She fell and hurt herself a little bit. She's kind of she couldn't do any good for anybody up there with what they've got to deal with. So, and then we've got people coming in here, which she's kind of committed to help out with the food and all that kind of stuff with. So she's just in a mental quandary. So we haven't had dinner yet, but that's okay. We'll get that in a little while. It's warm here, but not too bad. Anyway, good to hear you. We'll take a standby. I'll shoot it to you, and then we'll take a standby and see who else is in here, Ron.
All right. Sorry to hear about that, Judy, but kind of not too far away, but still, what are you going to do? And I know somebody that's broke both arms too, and that was a heck of a deal. He had them both in cast, so not a good thing. Pretty hard to do things when your arms don't move, where you want them to. So, all righty, you guys take care and try to stay cool. KJ6TYO 1009.
Okay, very good. And I think I heard your phone go off in the background there too. Good evening to you, Ron. KJ6TYO, K6MYC 432 Bozo, pointing south toward Lake Isabella, looking that direction for KB6RQU by any chance. Are you in there, Rick?
K6USY 1079 in Bozo 1100.
I got you, Aaron, and you and Brittany. Good evening to you. And you sounding good. Sound like you're back on track with everybody home and functioning.
Yep, everything's going good tonight, and I'm going to sit here and eat part of a calzone. K6USY.
Yeah, I haven't had a calzone forever. There used to be a place up on El Camino in Los Altos or in Palo Alto area that made the greatest calzones. I used to go in there whenever I would get up that way and I had opportunity to not eat with somebody else. I would get in there with Whitmer, and I would go in and have a calzone and whatever, and boy, that was good stuff. So enjoy your calzone. And who else do we have? Rob, are you with us yet tonight?
Yep, just tried to announce on the wrong mic. KM6SR number 432. And I have my sympathies go to Judy's daughter. I had both arms out of commission. I broke the scapula on one side and tore the rotator cuff in the other. And the worst thing is you have to have somebody wipe for you. KM6SR back.
That's That's the first thing I think of. Man, how are you going to go to the bathroom properly? And the worst thing is to have somebody wipe for you.
Yep, but your partner, for better or worse, and you got to douse to the worst there, so that's what it's for.
Yeah, if you have one. Anyway, both her daughters are in the area, but they all live 20, 30 miles away. So, and they're all, they all have lives that are in the early stages of early stages of confusion. One of them owns a restaurant, and today is a restaurant day. She has a husband that she and her husband operate the restaurant together, and she can get help in there, and I'm sure she's had help. She has friends that can jump in and help her out when she's got issues. But it's just, too much. Everybody's loaded to the gills, and to take on one more thing, even for somebody that close. If they were in the same town, it would be a lot easier. But dealing with the animals is the tough one. The cats can go overnight, but the dogs, you just can't leave. So they got to be taken, or you got to go there and stay with the dogs. She's got two, and they're not big dogs, but the other folks have dogs of their own, and one lady has 4 German Shepherds, and you don't want to introduce 2 little new ones into that mix. Anyway, there you are. You're sounding good. KM6SRR or K6MYC, and we must take another stand for Rick down there. He might give him a call. Over.
Okay, I'm not sure if he can hear me any better than you, but I'll give it a try. KB6RQU, Rick, you on tonight for the 432 Bozo Net? KM6SR with K6MYC standing by.
The way he was talking last night, it sounded like it was a possibility. Maybe he'll be out here yet before the night is over. Unfortunately, when I get turned away from him, he doesn't have the big signal like he's got on 2 meters. I can hear him on 2 almost every direction. He is not potent, but he's detectable. But I may miss him. That's the only problem. I was thinking what 800 Bill would be in here. Bill, are you here yet?
This is Mike, WA6AAJ. Check Bill in. He will not be here.
Okay, what's Bill's problem tonight?
He's got some graduation to go to.
Oh yeah, Matt's doing that tonight also. He's got 2 graduations and some kind of another party tomorrow that he's got to go to. So yeah, this is the season for the parties, and the grads and stuff.
Yep, that is the season.
Hey, Mike, I can probably stay pointed down towards Rick because I don't hear the other people except for locals anyway.
Okay, fine, Ron. What did you say, Mike?
No, I was just agreeing with you about graduation time.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, Rob's going to leave his antenna toward Rick down there, so hopefully we'll get Rick in here and anybody else that comes out of the Central and South Valley here, San Joaquin Valley. We're listening for San Joaquin Valley. And we got all ears at attention here, so to speak.
Kilo Golf 6, Charlie Echo Fox.
There's the other end of the valley, part of it, or at least the midpoint. Good evening, Daryl.
Good evening. I can hear everybody. They're kind of soft, but I can hear them. I can barely hear Rob. He must be pointed away from me.
Yeah, he's pointed to Lake Isabella near Bakersfield there. Anyway, another nice day. It was warm, just sweaty warm. I finally got my little tarp. I'm not a tarp guy, but I've learned today, and I should have known this months and years ago, I'm not much of a tarp person. You could probably give me on a canvas, and I couldn't make a tent to save my soul or to save my bed from getting wet. But anyway, I got this little tarp up, and I finally figured out a way to do it. But, it's hard when you only got one end that's substantial to hold up one end of the tarp. Now, what do you do with the other 3 sides? Over. Anyway, it was my dilemma today, but I did get it sort of functional. And I found a couple of things that I could do to keep from tearing the tarp to support it. I got some vertical stanchions, but it's hard to hook a vertical stanchion. I put a bar across the other end. I've got one end of the tarp hooked to the building, you know, on its eyes. There's 4 eyelets. That's nice. That's all working. Now I came out to the other end and I put an old leftover leg of a canopy, a square leg, 1-inch square leg of a canopy across there, and that's now forming the rigid, holding the far side rigid. Now I just have to lift that bar up and hold it up, and that leaves you with a flat or almost flat cover in between. That's a small tarp. We're talking 6 feet wide and 8 feet long. 8 feet is along the building, so I only have to pull it out 6 feet. Sounds like it should be easy. Been working on it 2 days, and I'm still just barely finished at the end of the day. God, I'm pretty hopeless these days. Anyway, 982 KG6CYO, not CYO, Charlie Echo Fox, I should say, K6MYC. Go ahead.
Mike, you just need a couple of 2x4s, some nails, and a little bit of rope.
Well, I got rope and I got nails, but I'm also faced with some other limitations on what I can do for stanchions and stuff. I want it to be free and clear for movement around it and through it and all that. So I don't, the 2x4s are replaced with this square piece of steel tubing. It's light. It's just a leg of a canopy, like you say, and it's not got any weight to it. I could have used round tubing, but I just happened to have a piece of square tubing that was 2 ends and a center section, so I could make it any length I wanted within a range of 6 to 8 feet or 9 feet, and then I just drilled it with 3-4 holes and put bolts through the eyes with some big washers to hold the eyelets of the tarp, and it makes a nice other end. Now I just have to hold it up. There's nothing on the outside end to hold it up.
Sounds like you need one more piece of tubing.
Well, I have 2 tubes. I have it held up. Don't get me wrong. I've got it held up. The problem is holding it up is one thing, but I want it to be straight and flat on top. And holding it up is one thing, but you got to keep that other side from falling inward. Otherwise, you end up with a big whoopy thing that has a big droop in the middle. So I've got 2 legs that are affixed. I found sort of a clever way to attach to that horizontal bar with some old swimming pool plumbing or tubing that's real flexible and real durable, and will stand up in the weather, and I wrapped it around the end so it doesn't damage the tarp. And then I just held those in place on the vertical stanchions with a couple of hose clamps. So it's a little hokey, but it's working, and it's out there where it should be. And I'm holding up one end a little higher because I do have a tree on one end of it, so I got the one end held up. It's just they don't have anything on the other end to hook to. And I don't want ropes running across an area which I drive through and so on. So it's just a lot of little limitations, Daryl. It's just my world, and I have to live with it. I've got it working now, but it took me a lot longer than it should have. Let's put it that way. I just realized at the end of the day, say, Mikey, you're not a tent guy, a tarp guy. I can throw a tarp over a dry pile of stuff that I'm going to burn in a few days, and sometimes it actually stays there for a while. Over.
Well, sounds like you got it under control. That's good.
Yeah, I do. Okay, who else is out here? K6MYC Bozo 432. Over. Oh boy, you're really way off the backside. Okay, well I'll be coming around. I might as well turn around. Rom has already pointed south, and he's going to stay that way. So Dane, let me go over toward Santa Cruz, and that should bring you up quite a bit here. Hang on a sec.
Sounded like you might have been mobile.
Are you mobile, Dane?
Yeah, the WB6JNC1007.
I got you. Are you mobile?
Yeah, we're mobile vertical.
Mobile and vertical. Boy, that's shooting yourself in the foot, isn't it?
And he's getting RF into his audio.
Okay. I didn't hear anything in the audio, but he's not strong enough to hear it. Anyway, good evening, Dane. We've got you checked in. Are you down in Fresno someplace? Well, he's not hearing me at the moment. WB6JNP, are you in Fresno, or what area are you mobiling in, Dane? Over. Response. Is anybody else copying, Dane?
He had a pretty good signal here. You copying, Dane? Currently horizontal, K6USY, West Fresno. Okay, roger, roger. Yeah, just to let you know, you're getting some RF in your audio, but I copy you out here in West Fresno. So, Mike, he said he's mobile in Clovis, and he's heading back up the hill, K6USY.
Oh, that's funny. I was aimed at Clovis. It's funny. I would have heard him better. He's weaker now, but I'm copying him. But he is distorted because of the RF. No problem with Dane. We've got you, and maybe you'll even get home in time for us to see you at the end of the net. So I think I'm over towards Santa Cruz, if I'm not mistaken. Can you look at the compass and see where I'm pointed there, Aaron?
271.
Yeah, that's close enough. KW6S, Kilo Whiskey 6 Sierra, K6MYC. Now let's look for Lee. Lee said he would try to be in there tonight as well. Alpha Foxtrot 6 United, AF6 United in Watsonville area, K6MYC, over.
KE6VON 1040.
Maybe try and find me out there. I am here tonight. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I'm finding you. I got a pretty good copy at the end there, but we had a couple of breakers over the top of you there. I got you, Adam, 1040. Hang on a second. Let me get that written down. 1040. 1098. Okay. Make another transmission, Lee. I think we've got you. I haven't heard, you haven't heard Tom in there yet. But he thought he would be here tonight, but maybe something came up. AF6 United, 432 near Watsonville, K6MYC, over.
All right. I will chatter here for a couple of minutes and give Tom a chance to get over to his radio and get everything turned on and whatnot, and hope he doesn't pop another amplifier in the process. Hope everything actually has gotten fixed and is working well again. So, from AF6 United over to if you're out there, Tom, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're up and down a little bit. We got everything all okay, though. Not as good as I've heard you. So I don't think you've made any changes, but I've heard better signals from the condition, the antenna condition you have. So the propagation may not be super here this evening. At least we got you, and that's the main thing, Lee. Let me take another standby for Tom there and see if Tom has made it in the shack yet. I did go back and forth, and I'm finding you off axis a little bit south of Santa Cruz tonight. I guess that's normal. So you're normally south of Santa Cruz, over.
Yeah, roger, roger, that is correct, and I will take a standby here too and see if Tom is out there, KW6S from AF6 United.
Yeah, maybe he's not watching the clock there. No worries. We got you checked in, so we'll let you go. I know it would be good if we had both of you in there, but I don't think, I don't have anything too terribly important here to pass on. We're a little bit discouraged with the current political scene, but everything is, other than that, we're not doing too bad. Hi. Good evening to you, Lee, and thanks for coming up here on 432 for us. AF6 United, I don't think anybody else is hearing you, K6MYC.
Yeah, okay. I will check out and let you get on with the net there and see if Tom finally steps back in from being in the outhouse or something like that. So 7-3 there, K6MYC from AF6 United. Back to net.
Okay, well, if he comes in, have him make a couple of loud calls, and somebody over here, somebody will probably hear him and alert us to his presence. Thank you, Lee. Appreciate it. And you came right up pretty nicely on the last couple, so I must have it pretty close to your heading there. Thank you, sir. AF6 United near Watsonville, K6MYC, Central California, Bozo Net 432, bumping the antenna now up into the lower end of the Silicon Valley.
And 5MPD 1129.
1129. Good evening, Brett.
Good evening, Mike.
Sounding good as always. Of course, it's hard to not sound good when we're line of sight to each other, really. Anyway, good deal. And I don't know, how's the mosquito population holding up for you?
Well, the mosquito abatement district supposedly fogged this morning. They usually do it around 2 to 4 a.m. And they told me they were going to come down my street, and I haven't had any today, so maybe they did. They were going to do it around the parks with all the grass, but I asked them to come down here and give us a fog, and they said they would, so I don't know if they did or didn't, but the mosquitoes are not here, so maybe they did.
Well, I think you have to give them all the credit in the world. If there's no mosquitoes, they had to fog. You would have had them otherwise. It's almost a given. You're not going to have a day that, for some reason, mosquitoes all go to another party. They like your place, and you're a good party giver. Anyway, sounding good over here. No mosquitoes over here. Well, I can see this is probably the worst mosquito season. Now, I don't get bit very much. I don't think I've gotten bit since they started to come out earlier. But Judy just gets bit. Now, we were out on the front porch a few minutes ago, right around 7, and we were out there for 20 minutes, and she didn't bat away any mosquitoes. It was quite warm. The sun was on us, and we had a light breeze, but not enough breeze to keep mosquitoes away. But there weren't any mosquitoes, so we were pleased with that. So maybe the mosquitoes just decided to take the day off. What do you think?
Maybe so, yeah, but they'll be back. The corn behind the house is about 3 or 4 inches tall, so in no time it'll be up there and getting irrigated, and they'll be back for sure.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I can tell you the weeds are probably part of the problem. The weeds are up, and they must have some kind of more moisture in the air or in the ground or something, because that's also probably adding to the mosquitoes. I don't have any ponds. I have a pool, but I don't think I'm growing mosquitoes in my pool. They'd have to be pretty resistant to chlorine to make it in there. And I don't have any other open water anywhere except dog dishes and stuff, and that's not going to grow mosquitoes. That might get them to stop by and have a drink, but that's it. So I don't know. There's no ponds anywhere near me now. Everything's dried up, so who knows? Anyway, good evening to you, Brett. Good to hear you, and we'll see who else is over there in the Bay Area proper. But you're sounding good from Newman/Gustine there. N5NPD, K6MYC, over.
K6MYC, N5NPD, have a great weekend there, Mike, and we'll try to catch you on Sunday.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting weekend. I think Judy and I are going to be, we'll have some company. Matt's going to be in and out of here, but Matt and his wife are going to 2 different graduations. One of them's tonight, one of them's tomorrow night, and then they're going to be here Saturday night, I understand, for dinner, and then they're leaving again Sunday for some other, either not a graduation, but some kind of a celebration, some kind of a party on Sunday. So we'll be mostly alone for the weekend. We've had a very busy week with a crew out here building this big log periodic. It's a big 60-foot long, 14-element log periodic that covers between 6 and 20 megahertz, which is a very narrow band band spread for log periodics. And it's up now. They're going to hook a feed line to it probably tomorrow after they do a little more touch-up on it. Get a few more overhead guys. It's 6 full-length elements, you know. So the elements are like 45 feet either side of center.
Oh, that's huge.
Yeah. Well, not quite that long, but they're pretty long. But they're full size. There's no coils, no loading. But it should be a pretty good performer, because when you put that many elements on a 60-foot boom over that narrow frequency range, it should play really well on 40 and 20. And probably even work a little bit up on 15, although it's supposed to roll off at 20. All right, let you go, 7-3, but that's what we had. We had crew members here all every day this week. So there were people coming in and going for lunch, and I have found a new little lady that does weed eating, and she's been weed eating her little soul, and she's been here every day. She'll be back again tomorrow for 3 or 4 hours, as long as she can last in the heat. Pretty amazing to have a young girl, a young woman. She's got a family, she's got kids, but she's young and energetic, and anybody that can wield a weed eater, I have a lot of respect for. N5 NPD 73 K6MYC.
There, Mike. We'll catch you next time.
All right. Who else do we have in the Bay Area? K6MYC Bozo Net. I heard somebody with a 6 on the end. Who is the 6? Try again, guys. You got to give me a little more chatter. I can't dig you out so far. Let me come back a little bit. Maybe I overshot the Bay Area. Try it again, please. K6MYC Bozo Net 432 over. I heard one word out of that. I heard a 4. Whether that was the letter 4 or what 4, I don't know. But whoever said 4 at the end, go ahead.
Okay, Mike, it's me, WB679. You have 2 other stations standing by. Your signal dropped dramatically after you got done with the last meeting. You were coming in excellent, and now there's no excellent at all. Anyway, we're still cooking dinner, so I might pass you over the next half.
Okay, boy, you're light tonight. I'm getting about partial copy. Sometimes it's Q5 and then you fade down into the noise. I can hear you keep talking, but I don't know what you're saying. I guess there's a couple other people in there as well, so I'll leave it right where it is. If I can hear you with this heading, I should be able to hear the other people. But we really seem to be down in propagation. I've got the preamp on and everything here, so I can't squeeze any more out of the turnip. Go ahead, the other check-ins, please. K6MYC. Oh, I'm not hearing anything, Gary. Can you help me out?
Mikey, here's Jim. He's loud and clear on my end. Yeah, that's controllable. He was so strong, and then he ruined it.
Well, now it's better. I think I found a better peak on you.
Okay, Mike, Jim wants to talk with you. I'm going to continue cooking dinner. Back to you, and Jim's going to try you.
Well, you said Jim, but there's 2 Jims over there. Who wants to talk to me?
Hey, Mike, it was JNN.
Now, W6PQL, I hear you. I don't hear Jim yet, but the other Jim. But W6PQL, that should be good enough for sideband. You're pretty loud. Go ahead. W6PQL, we got you. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, Mike, you're not quite on me yet. You were positioned right where you are right now is okay for the station you were talking to. So pick him up again. You can hear him in this direction. Your antenna is still about 10 or 20 degrees too far south for me, but you're okay for Scotts Valley or wherever you were talking to.
No, I'm talking to San Jose Campbell, so it's on you.
Oh, you're not far enough north for me. You're going to have to move the antenna at least another 10 degrees before you're peaked up on me.
Well, this is where your CW peaks, my friend. I went back and forth. This is where you're peaking tonight.
You got a side lobe on me, Mike. You just got a side lobe on me.
All right, try that.
No change. Your antenna's finally moving. Okay, you're almost there. If you're pointed directly at San Francisco, that's the best place for you to point for me. You went a little bit too far. Come back. There you go, right there. That should be pretty good. I'll copy.
It's okay. It isn't changing much, but I did run off the edge. When I got over 300, you dropped over. But sometimes at 300, where I'm talking to Ken, you're very strong. So probably somewhat where you put your antenna. Anyway, we've got you. And good evening. And I didn't hear Jim, WB6JNN, in here yet, but I'll find him. But I've got, I may have a side lobe, but it's hard to be sure what that is because there's so much QSB. Anyway, it was. How was your weather over there? It was another warm one here, but not overwhelming. It was sweaty more than anything. I think it's quite humid. We haven't even checked the humidity outside, but it feels humid every time I just step outside. I feel dampish already. Over.
Yeah, I understand. Well, you're almost S9 here, and you don't fade any lower than about S7 or so. So you're doing pretty well with your antenna where it is now. You'll probably have to go back about 10 degrees for Jim, and there you should be able to hear WNI as well on that heading. But this is a good heading for me. So anyway, I'll let you get to it. It was about 76 here today. Where I was golfing, it was 84. And so it varies a little bit across the Bay Area, but it's mid-70s, low 80s pretty much everywhere in the Bay Area here. K6NYC, W6PQL, 73 for now.
Yeah, was your temperature and your score the same today?
Today was 85. I was a little bit better a few days ago.
Okay, and the temperature was 84, so you didn't quite match your score, huh?
No, I'd love the day when it's about 62 and my score matches the temperature.
And there's another big fade. You dropped out completely for about 3 words there. Boy, it's just weird today. All right. Thanks, and thanks for checking in. Have a good weekend. And we're looking forward to an interesting weekend. Probably the first weekend we're going to go in the pool. I think we've had enough warm nights now. The pool should be pretty nice. We've got it all cleaned up, got rid of all the green. It helps when you get rid of the T-shirt that was stuffed into the pool sweep. Over.
Yeah, I heard that story yesterday. Okay. 775 is in there on this heading, so this would be a good place to pick him up. Over.
He comes in at 275 also, so there's a 20-degree difference. Sometimes he comes down the coast and leaks in through Watsonville. Over.
Kilo 6 Whiskey India Sugar.
Okay, I hear you, Paul. K6WIS. Just stand by a second. I think I'm hearing Mike in there also. KB6RQU. No, that's not right. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie. KB6 Whiskey Foxtrot Charlie. Go ahead, Mike. Over.
K6NYC, KB6WSC, Charlie Mike 87, Bozo number 775. Over.
Yeah, we got you, and it's weak and fluttery, but Q5 now. So thank you very much for the 775, Mike. And not too bad on 432 here, all things considered. How much power do you run on 432? Over. How much power? How much power? What's your power on 432 here, Mike? Over. He's gone. He's either not hearing me or not. I'm not hearing him. All right, let's see. Let me go back a little bit here. WB6JNN, WB6JNN, or anybody else in the Bay Area, please, K6MYC, come now, over.
Copy, B6JNT mobile.
K6MYC, WB6JNN. And Kilo 6 Whiskey India Sugar is still here.
Temporary WB6JNN clear.
No, I've got you, Jim. It's just 3 or 4 checking in all at once. You just have to be patient. You're not hearing all the other check-ins. WB6JNN, K6MYC with K6 Whiskey India Sugar and WB6JNP. We've got you, Dane. And we've got you, Paul. Stand by, guys. Go ahead, Jim. WB6JNN, K6MYC. Over.
Yeah, you're 5 or 7, but mainly 6-7. And I've got to leave. I'm going for a walk with my daughter. 73, WB6JNN.
Okay, go ahead. 73, have fun with your daughter, and we'll see you Sunday night. Jim, good evening, and thanks for taking the time to get in here. WB6JNN, K6MYC will be clear. Now, over to you, Paul, K6 Whiskey India Sugar. Go ahead.
Thanks, Mike. K6MYC in the group. This is Kilo 6 Whiskey India Sugar. Yeah, you're on a good antenna heading for me right now. When you head to the north towards San Francisco, if it's good for PQL, it's good for me too. So you're 5 by 3 right now. 5 by 3. How copy me? Over.
Oh, yeah. No, you're a good copy here. Stronger than when you checked in at first when I was pointed more north. You're better here. But it varies from night to night. Some nights you're better more toward Vacaville, Mount Vaca and that area, Mount Diablo. Other days you're better toward Mount Umanum. Hi. Do you have any other check-ins for us here tonight, Paul? Over.
Negative. No other check-ins. Just myself. Over.
Okay. And how are you doing on your treatments? Are you coming? You're just about done with that, aren't you?
Oh, yes, actually, I got some good news. Yes, I finished the chemotherapy treatments, and my last PET scan showed a negative result. So right now I'm completely clear of the cancer as far as my doctor is concerned. Over.
Yeah, well, that's good. Let's hope that holds. That has to be watched very carefully because it does sneak back and hide in little places. But hopefully that's the end of it for you. Now it's good news, Paul. No more treatments, and cancer-free is the right sound. So you can celebrate this weekend. I thank you very much, and good evening to you. We'll look for you on the direct path also to see what that path looks like. But you're about 5 and 5 right at the moment. K6 Whiskey India Sugar near Placerville, K6MYC.
Roger. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, your signal increased to S4. You're 5 by 4 right now. Catch you later. 73 from Kilo 6 Whiskey India Sugar.
Yeah, Roger, 73, Paul. Okay, Dane, I copied you. I copy you fine, too. I didn't copy you very fine, but I could hear you every time you checked in. You weren't hearing me. I came back to you a couple of times when you were in downtown, and you didn't come back to me. So you probably had more noise in the radio than anything else. Anyway, you're good now. WB6JNP, go ahead. K6MYC.
Okay, Mike, we're just coming up on, I think, O'Neill, and 41 going up the hill. Anyway, this is the radio. We just got back from a repair, so I figured I'd give it a chance and see if we could get you mobile. We were down in Clovis. So anyway, you're sounding good, and it's presently 87.
Yeah, temperature is 87. Okay, yeah, cooling quite nicely at this hour. And RF feedback still in there, so you've got to take a look at that. It's not bad. but it's very distorted on about 1/3 of your speech is distorted. 1/3. Some of the words are clear. It might be a level thing. It's hard to tell, but some words are perfectly clear, and then all of a sudden it goes to distortion and mush, but it's readable. Anyway, no worries. The radio, I think whatever they did to it is fixed, and I don't think they had anything to do with the RF feedback, Dane. Over.
Okay, well, I backed off the mic. I can't do any adjustments right now since I'm driving, but I backed off the mic, and I had mentioned when it went in that I had reports of RF feedback, and they said they couldn't find anything. So, yeah.
I hear you, Fred. I'll be right with you.
Give me something to play with at home. K6MYC, WB6JNP mobile.
Yeah, by backing off the mic, it made it worse. It was distorted on every instant. Was there distortion in there? Not serious. I copied everything you said, but it's garbled. So I don't know. Maybe you have to do a little more filtering on the mic cord or something. But turning the mic gain down did not help. To my ears, at least, it made it worse.
Okay, well, that's what I'm thinking is turning down the mic gain. But again, it's one of those things with a digital rig that you've got to find the program for it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll let you go. We got you checked in, and you're going to be home. And if you want, you can check again from the home QTH. Hi. Let me pull in the other Cupertino station here that's waiting. WB6JNP Course Gold 107. Over to you, Fred. 507 KD6SOK K6MYC. Over.
Good evening, Mike. Yeah, it's been a difficult night on 432, which is surprising. I listened earlier, and I could barely hear you. I could barely pull out your signal out of the noise, but right now you're doing really excellent. So, boy, the band is really going up and down. It's not a great night for band conditions on 432. Over.
Yeah, it's choppy. I think part of what I was hearing on Dane, he's vertically polarized, so I might have been hearing a little bit of polarity chop or whatever you call that, multipath chopping. Sometimes you can get distortion that sounds like RF feedback, and it's just that you're so chopped up. I don't know what causes that or what the manifestation is in terms of waveform, but sounds just like RF feedback, but isn't. And you have it on you this evening, but not as bad as Fred had it. Anyway, you're quite loud, and I have it optimized for you. I'm sure I can find a little better peak for you. You're always a little bit more to the south than anyone else there. Anyway, hopefully you have a good weekend. What are you going to do this weekend? You got anything planned, Fred? KD6SOK K6MYC, and are you getting ready for the contest?
I'm probably going to do some yard work. I got to pull some weeds out, which I've been growing in the backyard. So I'm going to do what you're doing, pulling weeds this weekend. So got my work cut out for me, and I'll try and dive in here a couple times and see if I can work somebody this weekend. But yeah, and after that, relax on Sunday and not do anything. So that's the plan. Anyway, yeah, you're right. The vertical versus cross polarized, it doesn't work. You got to be horizontally polarized in this band if you want to get into serious DXing. Long weeks ago work on this band anyway. And same thing with 1296. You just can't do it cross polarized. It doesn't work.
Well, he was in the Mobile, and I don't think he has a 432 egg beater. I think he has a 2 meter, not egg beater, but a hole loop. And he's got a 2 meter hole loop, but he just still runs vertical, horizontal on 432 here. 432, he's still vertical. And he was driving around. He was still in the Mobile, so then you got multi-path from the Mobile and multi-directional, omnidirectional antenna that's feeding it and so on. I peaked the antenna a little bit more backwards toward you, and you picked up a little bit more, and you cleaned up a little bit. So, sounds good, Fred. Go pick some weeds. I was in some weeds just before I came in the house tonight. I found a broken water line, and of course, right where the water line ended, was supposed to go on and feed other trees and stuff, but the weeds in that area, it's been broken for about 2 months apparently, or at least a long enough time for these weeds. I had grass growing in there that I've never even seen before. Grass or weeds or barley or whatever it was, but it was a dense with kind of a plumy top on it. I don't know what the hell it was, but very tough and about 2 feet long, 2 and 3 feet long, and just buried itself around this tree where it was ground was very mushy and soft. Everything else was hard as a rock. I'm kneeling on hard soil and I'm got my knees up in the wet section, so I got totally soaking wet knees, and everything else was bone dry all around this one area beyond it. But I found it, I fixed it, so hopefully I'll get water to the last 2 trees. They weren't suffering, but they obviously hadn't been getting what they should have been. These are oak trees, so they're baby oaks, 3 and 4 inch diameter trunks, so they can survive, but I like to give them a little extra water when we can. There you go, 7-3, weed eating and weed pulling it is. KD6SOK, K6MYC. Good evening, Fred.
Good evening, Mike. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you later. KD6SOK.
Okay, very good. Anybody else in the Bay Area? How about KT2G? We've been waiting for KT2G to get back and tell us how he's got an award that he's receiving from the city or the country of Italy. I've got a bunch of his countrymen coming in a week and a half from now, so I'll be happy to tell him that. He may even know some of these guys. I don't know. Anyway, they're coming in to view some antenna testing that we're doing for some of the arrays that we built for them. Anyway, I was waiting for him to show up. He's gotten a very prestigious award for a gimmick that he came up with that goes in all cell phones, and whenever you call 911, it automatically transmits your GPS location automatically, and to the 911 operator, I guess. Anyway, I guess that's installed in gazillions of phones, so he's gotten an award for that. Okay, 7-3, K6MYC, and we'll look for anybody else that's on here before we get out of the Bay Area. K6MYC, Bozo Net, Bay Area. I'm moving up a little bit. Bay Area, Bozo Net, K6MYC. Anybody? Well, we should be able to get N6RO here. N6 Radio Oscar if you're not on the YouTube or on the Zoom meeting somewhere. N6RO, K6MYC.
K6MYC, N6RO, Bozo 835. Oops, I don't have the amp on.
That's all right. You're good enough. Now they moved the antenna toward you.
Oh, yeah. Seems to be a lot of the amps on now. Rapid QSB, extreme, like 2 or 3, 4S units. But you're always Q5 here, no matter where you point. I'm Bozo 835. Temperature range was 55 to 82, I believe. Pretty cool day, or 81, I think it was. So I didn't enjoy doing anything outside. I'm still favoring that pain down my left side. I didn't want to tweak it by doing anything strenuous. But got a few things accomplished on software. Still have to do some wiring to get ready for the VHF contest and others with the new radio here. It's what I call Station 5. Let's see, dinner was, what was dinner? God, it was at least 30 minutes ago.
Well, I'm sure you've forgotten already.
It was steelhead trout, kale, and broccoli, and the usual mushrooms, onions, carrots, and buttery Chardonnay, of course.
kale's good for you, but you've heard Senator Kennedy's recipe for kale. I always like this. He says, somebody asked him on the air the other day how you fix kale. And he said, well, I have a recipe. He says, first of all, you put a little oil in the pan, a little olive oil in the pan, and you heat it up a little bit so the olive oil's real slippery and everything. And then you throw the kale in there, and it makes it much easier to get the kale into the garbage can. Over.
Yeah. Well, I generally like it, but I'm still. Actually, I steamed it tonight, but it's pretty old stuff. I got a new bag of kale for upcoming. Always something different in the kitchen and on the radio. N6RO.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you're not eating coal like kids get for Christmas when they're been bad. A bucket of coal as opposed to a bucket of kale.
No coal here.
Not much difference.
That's right. Okay. See you later, Ken. Have a good weekend, and we'll see you Sunday night. Enjoy. And how did you hurt your left side or right side? What was it?
It just happened almost a week ago. I just woke up with it. I must have done something in my sleep to tweak it. It now appears to be a muscular problem because it's been getting better slowly. And probably by the weekend I won't notice it at all. So I'm glad it didn't continue to be bad, so I didn't have to take it to the doctor.
Yeah, okay. Hopefully it will continue to get better. Maybe it could be, it sounded like you just got a little cold in your muscles. You might have been sleeping with the cover off of it and you were sweating a little bit, but the cover, sometimes I get a cold in a muscle and then it aggravates me for a few days. But you never know. Hopefully it's not a joint thing. But you can go to the chiropractor. I haven't been for about a year, but I really need to go, and there's a couple little things in my back that need to be straightened out, and I got a neck thing that's been aggravating me for several months, but it's not bad enough to make me go. Over.
Yeah, I've never been to a chiropractor, and maybe if this thing continues or recurs again, I'll try that. But for now, it's looking better. No contest this weekend that we're going to do, but still working on the All-Asia CW and, of course, the VHF contest. See you on Sunday night, N6RO.
Roger. See you Sunday night, Ken. 73 N6RO, K6MYC. Anybody else while I'm pointed up the Sacramento Valley?
Kilo 6, Victor Bravo Golf 971.
Okay. Hi, Dave. And good evening to you. Good to hear you out there. You were out there for a few minutes, but I know you don't like to stay in the heat or the cold too long. K6BBG 971. Go ahead.
They say both cause me breathing problems is why. And we actually had to put air conditioning in the house for me last summer. And I got it in, and I go in there and hibernate.
Well, that's good. At least you got some place to go where you are a little bit more comfortable breathing, and all that's good. Well, you're sounding good, and hopefully it'll be a modest weekend here. It doesn't look like it's going to be terribly warm. A few degrees up, a few degrees down, but it's always a little bit cooler up there in Coarse Gold, it seems. I think we were just touched 90 today, maybe, but not much more than that. But it was sweatier. I think every time I thought about doing something, I'd break out in a sweat. That's a bad sign. The other thing is if you take a glass of ice water and you set it outside, and if it starts to sweat, you know it's humid. Normally in the summertime, I could put a bottle of ice or ice thing out here, and it doesn't even get wet. That means it's very dry, but not lately. I took a bottle of ice water to bed with me the other day. I had frozen the bottle, and then I filled it up halfway with water, regular water. But it was cold, and I went to reach for it a half hour later, and it was just soaking wet, a big puddle. I had a thing underneath it, but very much more humid this year than normal. K6VBG for yours, K6MYC.
K6MYC, K6VBG. Yeah, absolutely. It seemed to be humid. Today we had a nice afternoon breeze. It brought the temperature down a little bit. But, it's going to be an El Nino year, another one. And we're going to get that kind of a moist summertime anyway. But anyways, Mike, you go ahead and have fun with your net, and we will talk to you probably Sunday night.
Okay, look forward to it, and hopefully the humidity will hold the fire hazard down. Things won't be tinder dry quite as bad as they could be. Lots of foliage, but maybe it'll the humidity will keep things under control a little bit. Thanks, Dave. 7-3, good evening. Anybody else up the valley? KD6 Whiskey Victor Lima or WS6 WSS? Anybody?
1179.
Okay, 1079, 1179. 1179, a little distorted, but let me listen again and make sure it's not RF feedback. Go ahead, John.
Okay, Mike, yeah, the signals are down, up and down. I just thought I'd try to check in real quick.
No, you're doing fine. I think it's okay. I think it's clean. It's hard to tell. The band's a little bit distorted tonight. A lot of multipath, and that sometimes can make you think you've got distortion and you don't. It's just the band doing it to you. Anyway, not like your 2-meter signal by any means, but certainly quite readable. Good to have you in here, John. And hopefully you're getting ready for the contest next weekend. KD6 Whiskey Victor Lima in Modesto, and I haven't heard K6 UJM lately, K6MYC. OJM.
Yeah, we're going to get ready. I got to go back on the roof and try to fix my 6-meter setup. Thanks for the check-in, KD6WVL73.
Yeah, well, 6 meters has been open quite a bit. I haven't caught any of the openings. I've heard them. The guys are telling me, oh, I worked this, I worked that, all around us here. But for some reason, I've missed every opening. There was one opening the other day, and I was right in the middle of the 1296 net, so I couldn't get on for that. But the band was open, but I was tied up with the 1296 net. All right, 7-3, and thanks for popping in here. KD6WVL, K6MYC. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Mike. Have a nice evening.
See you Sunday. Anybody else? K6MYC Bozo Net up the Sacramento Valley before we get to Sacramento. Okay, nothing heard. Here we go into Sacramento. Here we are, Sacramento, KO6KD. Bill, are you there?
Bozo 776. Mike, and to everybody else on the net. I have not heard from Darren yet, so I suspect that he's probably still out of town and will not be back till his planned return sometime over the weekend. Over.
Yeah, okay. We'll catch Darren probably on Sunday night then. That sounds good. And it was a pretty good this morning on 40. Hopefully it'll be better. Any word on the sun as far as the CMEs? It looks like it's diminishing. It should continue tomorrow, do you think? Over?
Well, it's possible. We're still getting the tailing end of some activity. There was it's going to be going through the most of today and possibly into tomorrow, but I don't think that there's any direct activity that's pointed towards us. This is all residual from what has happened before that we're still getting remnants of, but it hopefully will settle down and be better. So I've got my fingers crossed, and we'll see what it's like in the morning. Over.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Hopefully it'll be good in the morning. And then Saturday or Friday, we'll probably try 20 meters at the beginning. I'm going to have the big log periodic up here, 60-foot boom, and it's 14 elements, and it goes from 20 megs, from 6 megahertz to 20. So it should be pretty loud on 40 for you, and it should be pretty good on 20 meters when I point it on the long path. It's not in the best long path position, but it'll give me a reference to the 4 element that usually resides on the same tower. Anyway, that's up, and it should be hooked up tomorrow, Bill. I won't have it on in time in the morning for a check, but the 3 element seems to work okay during the day anyway. 7-3, and we'll listen for John here. I'm sure he's in there somewhere. KO6KD for your wrap, K6MYC.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be anxious to hear how that new antenna sounds. Sure sounds like a monster. Oh my gosh. All right, 7-3, and good evening, KO6KD.
That's a 400-pound monster, full-size elements all the way down to 6 megs, over.
My gosh, 400, wow. Your towers are not, I don't think your towers are designed to hold that much, are they?
Oh yeah, they can handle it. They can rotate it and handle it. It's been rotating the antenna around. The rotor's doing good, and the tower tilted it up. They didn't have all the element tips in, but it was within 80 pounds of its full weight when they even had it laid over in the tilt mode. So it's a very strong tower system, over.
My gosh. Well, I take my hat off and salute. That is something. It's a shame, Mike, that you don't have a way that Judy or somebody could go out and take some pictures of that and then send it to some of us out here that are interested in it. That really sounds like something. Of course, it's not going to be anything that you're going to market that we'll be able to take advantage of. And I know I'd have to sell my house to buy one. But still, it's just worth looking at and admiring. So, all right, enough said. I'll talk to you in the morning. 7-3. Have a good evening, KO6KD.
Yeah, you could throw a tarp over the thing and give shade to 3 of your neighbors along with your own self, over.
Hey, Mike, I'm hearing Rick in there. KB6RQU, KM6SRR.
That thing is a monster. I'm hearkening back to some of the antennas, the log periodics that we had in the Air Force.
Okay, Rick, old Bozo 61, we got you there. I just left my antenna down there because I don't hear very many people on this setup anyway.
Stand by, Bill.
Roger.
Thanks for being in there, Rick. KB6RQU, KM6SR, back to net.
Tell him that I cannot hear him on the backside. Sorry I missed him, but thank him very much for coming in. Would you, Rob?
Okay. And Mike says, Mike says, thanks for coming in. He can't hear you on the backside on the way he's set up right now, so that's why I was staying down here. Thanks for coming in there, KM6SR. Seriously, Rick.
Yeah, I heard just whispers, no readability, but I could tell he was in there. Thank you, Rob. And we got him a thanks, Bill, for standing by. That was KB6RQU down in Lake Isabella, checking in on 432. We always make a special effort to try to get him in here. He's the only DMO5 we've got in the Bozo Net here for us, on any band for that matter, except one other guy that doesn't do contests and is almost inaudible lately. So we try to keep KB6RQU up and functional. I didn't touch the frequency here.
Well, you sound like Donald Duck.
Don't give me some chatter. I'll tune up on you. I don't think I can even turn the knob here.
Okay, I'm locked in here, so I've got the button here going. I'm at 432.100.00. So all of a sudden you started to sound like Daffy Duck talking there. So I guess something happened anyway. Back to net there, KM6SR.
Mike, you're fine. You're fine. The problem is not on your end. It's on Rob's end.
Yeah, there you go, Rob. I didn't think so because I'm locked. I can't even turn the knob. I can't change the frequency here. Oh, so you've got to readjust yours, Rob. Something, you may have lost your Bodnar or something.
No, it's still working. You came up okay that last transmission.
Oh, I didn't change anything. I can't do anything here. I got everything locked off. And I don't know if you heard Aaron, but he said I was on frequency all the time. Over.
Rob?
Yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, you probably lost your GPS lock, so you need to be paying attention to the light on your Leo Bodner unit. If it starts blinking, then you lost GPS lock and you were off. Even if your radio says you're on 100, if you lose GPS lock, you're going to go haywire.
Well, the light's solid, and I haven't been looking at it totally all the time, but every time I look at it, it's still solid.
Well, it went wonky on your end, because Mike and I were still on frequency. Anyways, K6USY.
We'll just keep an eye on it, Rob. It seems like it must have been on your end, whether it was just a temporary glitch or whatever. But we're okay. And Bill came back and was talking underneath you on the frequency that I was hearing Aaron on. You were off, but everybody else was on. I could hear Bill through you. Not very strong, and I couldn't read him, but I could tell he was on the right frequency. So there you go. Anyway, let's see. Let me finish up with Bill and Bill. I missed your little bit of your last transmission, and I forgot what we were talking about. Something. Finish it up for me, Bill. KO6KD, K6MYC in the group.
Yeah, we're talking about periodic and things, so no worries. No, you have not been. Everything sounds stable on your end there, so I'll get out of the way. John's waiting in the wings, and I'll talk to you tomorrow morning. We'll carry on about this then. 7-3, thank you, KO6KD.
Roger. See you in the morning then. Very good. Let me see if I can get John in here. That should be closer to you, John. I may have overshot slightly. KR6MR, K6MYC.
Oh, K6MYC in the group. KR6MR, Bozo. 759. Good evening, Mike, Judy, Bill, and everyone else out there. I hope you're peeked in on me. KR6MR.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. Massive motorboat fluttering on you, but I couldn't get rid of it no matter where I pointed, so we got a lot of multipath on the band tonight. By the way, when I first turned it on, the antenna was pointed down toward the south, and I had a lot of radar in here. So I'm wondering if they aren't tuning up something down there at Vandenberg or something because of the turmoil that's possibly going on. I think somebody had the radar turned on. It's gone now. It went away just a little bit before net time, now that I think about it, but it was ripping and snorting in the beginning. Over.
Okay, Mike, I don't know where you're pointing, but I can barely copy you. You're very, very weak, which means you're probably not hearing me. Try to peak again, Over.
Oh, solid copy. You're weak, but I got you. But the band is moving around. There's two different directions for peaking on most people tonight. And motorboating is typical of not being quite on the right heading. But I swept across you the first time when I came off of Bill, and I peaked on you, and I came back and peaked. I went past you, and then came back and peaked on you, and then it went away as you saw. So the band is just flaky tonight, John. KR6MR, K6MYC.
Yeah, okay, Mike. That's the way it is. 1.2 affects all the other bands. Hi. I'll let you go and let you get up to Reading and over to Nevada.
Okay. 7-3, John. I don't think we'll hear Reading in there, but I'm going to make one call up to Reading. I invite them every time to come in on 432, and there's only been one time that they heard me. And I heard one little, I think a meteor burst on one of them. Reading, KD6 Sugar Whiskey, KD6SW. Any copy up there tonight? Any copy at all, Rick? K6, Rich, I should say. KD6 Sugar Whiskey, KD6SW. Reading, K6MYC, calling and listening. And no trace of CW. He would normally come back on CW, so I'm just not hearing him. The band's pretty poor tonight, but chances are he wasn't there anyway. Alrighty, anybody else before I go to Nevada? K6MYC Bozo Net, 432.
K6 Whiskey India Sugar.
Well, you're pretty good now, a little stronger here, maybe an S unit or two more than what we had on the bounce path, Paul, over.
Yeah, lots of QSB here. K6MYC in the group. This is K6WIS. Mike here, peaking S7. This is a pretty good heading for me, but sometimes you drop down to an S1. So deep QSB settings and some flattering sometimes. And John, KR6MR, you come in 5x9 on the back end somehow, and it's constant. Absolute beautiful signal there, John. And good evening to Bill, KR6KD, you're about 5.4 to 5.5, also a consistent signal. So back to you there, Mike. K6NYC, this is K6WIS, over.
Well, it makes perfect sense between you and John because it's pretty much line of sight from Meadow Vista to Placerville. Might be one small perturbation in the way, but that would make sense for him to be very steady and not fluttery and very little QSB. And almost the same way you are on the bounce path all the way to the Bay Area and back. We seldom hear multipath on that path. We only hear you at various levels, but very, very seldom do we see any motorboating or flutter type of QSB. All right. Good evening, Paul. Have a good weekend. We'll see you Sunday night. Thanks for checking back in for a prop check. K6 Whiskey India Sugar near Placerville, K6MYC.
Your end of your transmission, you set it down to an S1 then, and I'm probably low right now, so 73 is all from Kilo 6 Whiskey India Sugar.
S1 at the beginning, S6 at the end. All over the place, yeah. Big fades. 73, K6WIS, K6MYC. Anybody else before we go to Nevada, over? Nothing heard, so we'll go right on up there and see if we can hear Richard. Okay, let's see if we can copy that 8 watts, smashing 8 watts from Wassaw Valley there. KD6BQ, KD6BQ, Kilo Delta 6 Bravo Queen, K6MYC, over. CW. It's so weak I can't even get the call sign, but I'll get it next time. Try it again, and I'll see if I can pull out your number. Over. There it is. Roger, I hear you changing frequency on that one. You went up in frequency as you were doing that. KD6PQ, quite good copy on that one, Richard. Thanks for the 249. K6MYC, over. Okay, monster QSB tonight, monster QSB, and you're probably seeing it on me as well. Thank you, Richard. Have a nice trip, and we'll look for you in a day or so, if not tomorrow. Probably won't be there tomorrow, but we'll look for you the next day or so on 40 meters. Look for you at your dad's place on 40 meters. 7373, KD6BQ, K6MYC, and then over to KE7UQL. 73, Richard.
There is 272. There is 272.
Yeah, I got your 272 up and down. Lots of heavy QSB tonight. Well, we're catching it right at sundown here, and it's really getting us. Lots of heavy QSB, over.
Roger. The air is heavy with thunder showers up here. Thunder showers up here, over.
What did you say up here? Lots of showers? You got rain?
Thunder showers, gray clouds, big thunder boomers, over.
Okay, good. Now you're in the shack with me. Thunder showers. Yeah, well, we have nothing like that here. In fact, I think sometimes when we can look east, we can see that potential for you over there on the other side of the Sierras or in the Sierras, but nothing tonight. It's too dark to see anything at this point. We've lost daylight here. Anyway, thank you. Strong signal. Good to hear you. Thanks again always for being there, Daniel, and a great signal tonight. With heavy QSB as the same as on everybody. We'll see you Sunday night, Daniel. Have a good one. Enjoy the weekend. And try to stay dry, ha-ha. KE7UQL with KD6BQ, K6MYC. 73, Daniel.
Roger, K6MYC, KD7UQL, 73.
73, Daniel. 73, Richard, KED6BQ. Bye-bye. Have a good, safe trip, K6MYC.
Whiskey 6, copy up.
Yep. I hear W6PE, not bodacious by any means, and we're pointed right at you. But we'll take what we get, Mike, over.
All right. Well, you're booming in here, of course. You probably run a little more power than I am, and it doesn't matter if the polarizations are dropped. On this end, you're doing the job.
I just switched to vertical. Let me do that again. Come back again. I'm on vertical.
Wow, you just blew my speaker away with that. That made a big, huge difference on this end.
Yeah, you're much louder too, vertical. I don't normally have to do that for you, but 222, the vertical polarity switch, something in the system has failed. And but 432 seems to be working, and that's why I wanted to test it with you, make sure it's still working. So yeah, you're bodacious when I go vertical. So it shows you how strong you're going to be when you get horizontal. Over.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. I gotta get that done. I'm running out of time. Got to try and get that done before next weekend.
Well, most of the guys do all their work between 8 o'clock in the morning and 11 when the contest starts. Over.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean that's what I do on field day. We usually put everything up early in the morning, so that's good practice. And there's not really a heck of a lot that I have to do. I do have to put one of the antennas together. I got a dual band beam that covers 2 meters and 432, so I got to put that together. But I can work on that later this week.
What is that, a Cushcraft?
No, that's I forget you get the name of the company. It's in Europe. I think it's from Cyprus. I'd have to go look it up.
Yeah, it sounds like a comet from Japan. If the elements are in 2 different planes, that's one thing, and it'll work pretty well. But if they're both in the same plane, they don't work very well. The Cushcraft is horrible. Over.
Okay, no, it's not a Cushcraft. It's made by another company. They make their own antennas there.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who that would be in Europe. A lot of the companies in Europe are out of business. Anyway, is it cross-polarized?
Negative. Nope, it's horizontal only.
Yeah, that's too bad. Usually a major compromise on 432, but 2 meters isn't bothered, but it doesn't. 432 is third harmonic, and so the 2 meter elements are third harmonics, and they really it's hard to tune anything, and hard to get rid of them. Hard to make them work for you or get them out of the picture. Either way, the way to do it is to have the 432 in front of the 2 meter, and then you're okay. Over.
All right. Yeah. Well, yeah. I'll give it a try. It seemed like a good idea at the time, and something I wanted to try. I do have a good 2 meter beam. The 432 beam that I had, it's got a problem. It needs some repairs. Looks like there's a coaxial balun on it, and one of the pieces what attaches to that is broke loose. I tried to solder it, but didn't have any luck with that. So that's why I decided to go with this dual band antenna.
Okay, it's not one of our antennas, right?
I honestly don't know. I picked it up at a flea market probably in the late 80s.
Yeah, gee. I don't know what that would be. I'm trying to think. I can't remember if we made a dual bender at KLM. Anyway, could be a dual-driven element. I mean, the elements are, if they're housed, machined housing, the elements going into a machine block that mounts on the boom, and an access cap, and then two N connectors, or I should say two F connectors for the ballon, halfway ballon. They go in through halfway. The halfway ballon connects to F connectors on the other side of the block. And so you get a 4-to-1 step up for your folded dipole. It's a folded dipole, but the ends are shorting bars. So you form a folded dipole with ends that can be moved over.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to wait a minute or so, I can run over and grab the paperwork.
Yeah, I'll wait. We're going to get out of here. I think dinner's probably almost on. It probably is on the table. We didn't eat yet, but I haven't seen Judy yet, so she's not clamoring to get me in there. Anyway, Rob got quite a list today. I don't have a count here. I could probably get a close count, but it'd be better. Now, Judy was revamping the 2-meter one that we did last night, and it was only one discrepancy that we weren't sure of, so she was going to compare it with your list. I don't know if she's contacted you on that or not, but anyway, you and I went over it pretty carefully, but there was one or two little confusion areas where I wrote over the top of a number with another number. But I tried to do most of it by recollection and sort out the numbers that weren't real that were coming out. When you write over the top of another number, you get three different choices over.
Yeah, Roger on that. No, she texted me and said that she ended up with 38, same as what my count was for last night.
Okay, well, that's good. I'm glad that all came out then. It was a little short of 40, but 38 wasn't bad.
803, course goal.
803, hi, Dan.
Yeah, I just thought I'd tail in.
Well, you sound like I'm back and my partner is still lit.
The net.
Oh, it just went off again, Rob.
I wonder if he's got a loose connection.
Something going on there.
Yeah, Rob, make sure that SMA on the back of the radio is solid, because otherwise you're losing lock.
Dan, don't go away. Let me get you in here. Dan, KM6HK, good evening. Dane checked in earlier from his mobile vertical. I'm vertically polarized at the moment, guys, for what it's worth, to talk to John up there, who is still, not John, but Mike in Oakhurst is vertical for a few more days. So I'm vertically polarized at the moment. Pick it up, Aaron, and then shoot it around and then get it back up to Mike up there. K6USY in the group, K6MYC.
Yeah, no worries there, Mike. Yeah, fortunately, I'm not the one that put the Leo Bodner inside of the radio, so if it's going wonky, it's not my fault. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It's either a loose connection or the board's loose on the inside of the radio, because it would be hanging. See, you got to flip the radio over when you install it, so it's hanging upside down. So if it's not solid up against the circuit board, then that could be part of what's going on. So he'll figure it out. Alrighty, we'll send it up the hill. K6USY, Fresno.
You sounded good on that transmission, and I got the board in tight, so that's not an issue. And the radio is not being moved, so when it goes in and out, it's not due to any kind of movement.
Yeah, it's only out for a short period or one transmission, and then you checked your light on that one. You probably didn't see it. It might have been on and off for like a half a second. Just that little transmission. Let's see if Mike is back. He's going to give me the name of an antenna that he's got there. Go ahead, Mike.
All right. Yep, I'm back. It's made by Antennas Amplifiers, and it's their 2M70CM21WP dual band, 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and it's supposed to be good for kilowatt on 2 meters and 750 watts on 70 centimeters. So I could use amplifiers on both of those bands.
Yeah, give me the brand name again. You sort of garbled.
Okay, the brand name is Antennas Dash Amplifiers.
Well, that's not the company name.
That's the name they go by.
And where are they located?
They're located in Eastern Europe. I'm not sure if it was Serbia or Cyprus. One of those, I believe.
Or maybe Ukraine?
No, it wasn't from Ukraine. The only thing I bought from Ukraine was a Geiger counter, and that I got just
it's Serbia
before the war started.
Okay, Rob, Aaron broke in, said it was from Serbia. Gee, that's one I never heard of. I'm surprised. Who was you wouldn't know who imported. You bought it used, right?
No, I bought that new. I bought it directly from the company, and they shipped it over here. It probably only took maybe 3 days or 4 days at the most to get here.
So in the 80s, it only cost 15 cents to get here. Now it's $1,500.
Yeah, well, it was about $65, $70 to have it shipped over here.
Okay. Well, it'll be interesting. That was done empirically before computers, so it may need some optimization. But let's see how it plays. It may be adequate until you can get the other one fixed.
Yeah, no, this is a new antenna. The one I need to get fixed was the one I got in the late 80s. This was, this is probably fresh out of the factory.
The one that's called Antennas and Amplifiers is new, and is that what you're saying? And the other one was you got in the 80s, but well, let's not worry about it now. You can describe it more to me, and then it may be that we can send you the replacement pieces for the other one if it's ours. Over.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I'll look at it and see if I can get a make and a model number on it. Yeah, because it looked like the coaxial section that they made was used brass, but I had no luck trying to solder to it.
Okay, was it have the little coaxial section have connectors on it or not?
Well, there is a connector, but after the connector, there's a short section that goes to a coaxial section that looks like it's a piece of copper tubing and another smaller piece of copper, a very small copper tubing down the middle of it.
Yeah, I can't imagine who would do that and leave copper tubing out in the open like that.
Yeah, well, I don't know. It worked for me for a long time, but then I had really bad SWR, and when I pulled it down and looked at it, I saw what the problem was. And anyway, I may be able to build a spot welder or something and get the connection made.
Well, if it's copper, you just have to clean it. Once you get bright copper, you should be able to solder to that, but you can't solder if it's dirty.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did try to brush it clean and use a lot of flux on it, but anyway, didn't have much luck. But I'm gonna get this one in the air now, and then I'll work on the other at another time.
Yeah, well, the other option is to drop it by here, and we may be able to just retrofit it with one of my driven elements, which is real straightforward. Over.
Okay, yeah. Actually, that will work really well because it really shouldn't matter at that point.
Yeah, no, that's the way to do it. You got to get it down here and see us anyway. All right, 7-3, Mike. We're going to get out of here. I think everybody's done. Didn't mean to keep you holding, Dan. You probably went away a long time ago. KM6HK, K6MYC. Yep, Dan's gone to dinner or whatever. Anybody else in here before we close the shop? K6MYC.
Yeah, Mike, I've heard of that company he bought that antenna from, because they also do bandpass filters, and they do a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, they're based in Serbia.
Yeah, okay.
680, Mike.
680, MTS. How are you?
Doing all right. How's it going, NYC?
Well, we're hanging in there. I got a little more done today than I did yesterday, but that's not saying much. Over.
Are you feeling a little more rested today?
Oh, yeah. I slept until 1.
Perfect.
No, I got up in the morning, and I just felt like crap. I was one of those nights where I was dreaming, and Judy woke me up and said, "You really had a rough night, didn't you?" I was wrestling around. I guess I got tangled up in the covers. I don't know. But the dreams turn into what you're doing in the bed, but it manifests itself. So instead of tangled up in the covers, you're tangled up in the weeds or whatever it is. Anyway, then I was building antennas and making very meticulous measurements and having trouble getting the measurements right. And I was just worn out by the time I woke up. Over.
Roger. Well, that's good, man. It's good to stay busy and get tired at night. So, hey, can I ask you a question before you shut this thing down?
Yes.
Where do you guys go? I probably can't go there anyway because I'm still general. But where do you guys go? You say you talk a lot on 40 meters in the mornings. Where are you guys at usually?
Well, we're usually on 7137. That's the general starting frequency. Occasionally we have to move a kilohertz or so to get away from some local QSOs. Sometimes on weekends we get crowded. Most of the time during the weekday we got that section of the band all to ourselves. But 7137. And you can listen there. And if you have comments, just come down and say, hey, 180, and we'll go up and get you. Over.
Okay. About what time?
About 8:30 is when we start.
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a listen to you guys moving forward here if I'm by the radio then. Okay. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Good evening to you, Mark. Over to you, Rob, and for a wrap here. KM6, no, K6, KR6, KM6 SRR. Got too many letters in the wrong places, Rob. What the hell? K6MYC.
Sorry, Mike, that's what they gave me. Hey, when you guys, when it goes funky, I try tuning on you, and I can get you where you sound better, but it's still distorted as heck. So I don't know what's going on.
Okay, is this on? This has to be on the 9700. Well, let's just keep an eye on it. Right now, it's not a serious problem. If you get in a contest and it does it consistently, then we know you've got a definite problem. But on the short term, it's not going to be an issue, and we'll let you know every time it happens so you can keep a log. Over.
Well, I can hear when it happens if somebody's transmitting, but it's serious to me because now I've messed with the 9700. There's no warranty on it if something's going wrong with the radio.
Oh, you mean because you put the Bodnar in it?
There went again. I've been watching the button the whole time, and it did not blink one bit.
Just went off again.
Yep, it's gone again.
I'm trying to get in. Rob.
What now?
Okay, when it goes funky, you need to go into your ref adjustment. We probably just need to adjust your reference adjustment, which is what I was doing out at the swap meet there. So when it goes wonky, it's possible that your reference adjustment just needs to be tweaked a little bit to get you back into where you need to be.
Okay, how do we get that reference adjustment?
It's in your menu. Yeah, you need to see menu, set, and then see functions, and then all the way down at the bottom.
All right. Listen, guys, I'm going to go get some dinner. Good evening to everybody. And we'll have a good weekend. We'll see you Sunday night, if not sooner somehow. Okay, 6NYC closing the 432 Bozo Net, and wishing everybody a good evening.
Alrighty, good night, Mike. And Mark, if you're still listening, the solution for the bottom part of 40 meters is to get your extra.
Exactly. All right, 7-3, guys. K6MTS.
Alrighty, I'll stay on here for a second, and we'll figure it out if we can get Rob's 9700 to cooperate. It's probably just warm. K6USY.
Well, all of a sudden I got down to where that sink area is, and then it came back okay, and I didn't do anything.
Well, that's fine. So, but now you know where it is. Write that down, and the next time it happens, you need to go in there and just tweak that number a little bit. It needs to be in the middle somewhere, but it's possible the radio's just getting warm, and you're just going out of spec, and so you just need to slide it over just a little. It probably just needs a minor adjustment to maintain the lock.
Okay, I saw two lines there. Let me go back in there again.
There's a rough adjustment and a fine adjustment. You just need to move the rough adjustment just a little bit, not the fine one.
Okay, I hit menu and then what?
You need to write it down.
Menu, set.
Yeah, menu, set, function.
Okay, function's where I didn't do it. And every time I talk, it goes away.
Yeah, that's a feature. And one of the things you can do is go find Frank's beacon and just leave it listening to that. And if it goes funky, then slightly adjust it.
Okay, there's a fine adjustment over to the right at 62.4 right now.
It doesn't matter what it is. You just got to get it to where it's not garbling your audio.
And how do you do the adjustment?
You click on it.
Okay, and I don't know which way to go, huh?
Well, you're not going to know until it does it, and then you'll just have to make an adjustment. As I said, go listen to like Frank's Beacon or something, and you can screw it up because if you go in there and dial it to like 10%, it's going to sound awful. You got to find that sweet spot in the middle where it sounds normal.
Okay, well, I guess I got to have it set to that while I'm listening to you guys, and when it goes, then I can immediately make a change.
Yep, that's what I'm saying. Or go listen to Frank's Beacon. So out of those two numbers, what's the top one set to? I don't care about the fine adjustment. What's the top one set to?
44.3.
Okay, so that's probably a low. If you adjust it, start going up, because it should be, between like 40 and 60%. You shouldn't have to go up super high, and you shouldn't have to go super low, but it might just be a little low. So you might just need to, knock it up just a little bit, and then you should be fine.
Okay, do you want me to adjust the regular adjustment or the fine?
I keep saying leave the fine alone. You don't need to adjust the fine adjustment. You just need to have that top one be in the proper range. And you can tweak it right now while I'm talking. And while I'm talking, you're going to notice if you go too low with that number, it's going to make me sound wonky. And if you go too high with that number, it's going to make me sound wonky. You need to find that sweet spot in the middle. But as I said, maybe get it closer to 50%, and then you should be fine. So hopefully that was long enough for you to tweak it. But yeah, leave the fine adjustment alone. That's not going to do anything at this point.
Okay, I got up to 50.2, and you still sounded fine while you were talking.
Okay, leave it there, and as long as I still sound fine there, then hopefully it doesn't happen again. But yeah, what was happening is when it was going out of spec, you were going low in frequency, and then it was garbling. So it sounded really fun on this end.
Yeah, you guys sounded pretty funny too. So sounded like very high pitched. But I took the VFO and tuned you in to where you didn't sound high pitched, but you still were distorted.
Yeah, that's just the Leo Bodner fighting with the oscillator inside of the radio, and of course the Leo Bodner is supposed to be keeping it in sync. But yeah, if it if it gets off, that's what happens.
Okay, well, I'll leave it where it's at. I know how to get there from memory now. I've had to do it enough times every time I key up.
Yeah, and of course, we set that at the swap meet on 2 meters. The higher in frequency you go, the more important that setting is on. Technically it should be done on 1.2 gig, but I could see how, that radio would be fine on 2 meters, but then on 432 it needed to be adjusted just a little bit more. So just keep an eye on it on all the bands. You might want to, next Tuesday or whatever, muck with it a little bit more when we're up on the higher frequency.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
But right now you're still on frequency and you're not garbled, so you're good. But the nice thing is when it goes, it affects your transmit and receive. They're both linked together.
Oh, okay, so that's how you guys could tell. Not only was I complaining about hearing funny stuff, you were hearing me funny also.
Correct. Yeah, the oscillator is used in both directions, so it's going to screw up the audio going both ways.
Okay, well, I've learned something more to add to my repertoire here. Hopefully I don't have to use it.
Well, and every single one of those Leo Bonners I've installed, except for yours, I had to make adjustments to that number, and you just got to get it to where it sounds normal, and then you just leave it, never touch it again. But as I said, your radio's been on for a bit. It's probably warm, and it was probably getting borderline, and then especially when you were transmitting. So hopefully it's better where you got it now.
Okay, yeah, but I've had this radio with a Bodner for a couple months maybe or something since the swap meet. So I've had it on and I've been talking a whole bunch before, and it's never happened before.
Yeah, but it was 90 degrees today? So just in general, it's getting warmer.
Well, in my shack, it's the same temperature it's always been.
What do you do? Leave the air conditioning on at 70 degrees?
No, it's on at I think 78, and that's where it's always been. That's where it's at now.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's just a theory at this point. It doesn't necessarily have to be heat related, but something was causing it to go out of sync.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have to keep our eye on it.
Yeah. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. And definitely don't blame it on us when it happens.
Well, you guys have got me hornswoggled into the fact that my radio can't go wrong because it has a Bodner on it. So, and I look at the light and it's still on. So it can't be me. It has to be you because the Bodner's always right.
Oh yeah, we'll just blame it all on Mike. He's not here to defend himself.
Oh, you guys have got me in the habit of thinking that the Bodner's the fix-all of everything. It's the magic elixir, and it's always right,
Well, most of the time it is, except for when the radio is trying to fight it. Okay, we'll let you go. I got to go clean up some stuff in the family room. And good night to the other 14 people that are still listening to us on YouTube for some reason.
Okay, Aaron, thanks for the help. K6USY, KM6SR, 73.
Yeah, 73, Rob. Yeah, definitely don't rip the shack apart. Everything's fine. KM6SRR, K6USY, Delta Mike 06. And we're going to say goodbye to the YouTube people right as soon as I click the end broadcast button. Good night, everybody.